Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to F2 Worlds, the channel where we talk all things Final Fantasy. The world of Spira is full of characters with rich backstories that are influential even 1,000 years after their lifetime. Their stories and impacts in the world of Spira help shape the status of the world as it is by the events of Final Fantasy X. We see statues dedicated to such people throughout the game and learn of their backstory through different means. Today, we will be taking a closer look at one particular character that fits this criteria. He was someone who, while didn't say much, was closely associated with someone who left a much bigger impact. Spoiler, this someone will be the topic of the 500 subscriber mark for the channel, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see more Final Fantasy content. Also, this video will likely be a shorter one as there is not much to his life, but he did serve a rather moderate role in the history of Spira, so it is worth looking into. So without further ado, let us delve into the life of Lord ZAON. Lord ZAON was an inhabitant of Zanarkand 1,000 years ago. Nothing is known about his life prior to his marriage to Lady Yunalesca, and they married at some point during their lives in Zanarkand. It isn't known how much Lord ZAON and Lady Yunalesca loved each other, as she makes no mentions of him when the party meets her in the Zanarkand ruins, but we see a moment in Seymour's Sphere of Zanarkand of the couple embracing, as well as a moment in Final Fantasy X-2 within Via Infinito, expressing their love for one another. At some point after, Zanarkand went to war with Bevel in the historic Machina War. Lord ZAON likely participated and fought alongside his wife, and survived with her when Yu Yevon had the citizens of Zanarkand transformed into faith in order to conjure Dream Zanarkand as a way of preserving the memory of the original Zanarkand. As Yu Yevon proceeded with this plan, he told Yunalesca of a way to calm down Sin and deliver the calm through the use of the final Aeon, which would require someone that the summoner has a strong bond with to turn into the final Aeon to fight Sin. Naturally, Yunalesca used her husband, later guardian, ZAON as the first final Aeon to fight and defeat Sin, and was consequently absorbed by Yu Yevon himself to become the second Sin. This would make ZAON the first final Aeon, the first to defeat Sin, and the second core after Yu Yevon himself. We see the faith statue of ZAON in the Zanarkand ruins. However, it is broken, indicating that the final Aeon can only be used once, and the statue itself is broken once it is used to defeat Sin. After seeing that this was the only known way to defeat Sin, albeit temporarily, when the religion of Yevon was established, this was integrated as part of the religion through summoners going through pilgrimages in order to train and obtain the final Aeon and defeat Sin. ZAON would then live on as the core for Sin in the next 600 years, until he is defeated by High Summoner Gandalf and his final Aeon, casting ZAON out of Sin and the final Aeon of Gandalf becoming the next core. During the events of Final Fantasy X, ZAON is only mentioned, but his marriage to Yunalesca and the fact that he became the first final Aeon to defeat Sin is notable. So while we do not know of the impact he had throughout his life, we do know through Yunalesca and Seymour's Sphere that he was involved with the ritual that creates the final Aeon, a tradition upheld by the religion of Yevon, as it is the only known way of defeating Sin until Yuna and her guardians defeat it and deliver the eternal calm. In Final Fantasy X-2, however, ZAON has a more direct role in the game. It turns out that after he was defeated by High Summoner Gandalf, his spirit, like many others, descended to Bevel, specifically the Via Infinito, in the lowest floor. The party would fight him as he transforms into the fiend Paragon. He was a very powerful fiend that was only defeated by one other unsent, Trema, thus ending the life of Lord ZAON. While Lord ZAON makes no direct appearance in the events of the game, his involvement with Lady Yunalesca by becoming her guardian and the first final Aeon to defeat Sin helps prove that the final summoning was the only known way to defeat Sin for the next 1,000 years after his death, and that ritual was kept in use until Yuna found a way to defeat Sin without the use of the final summoning. In a way, that ritual became his legacy in the world of Spira, but his love for Yunalesca was what allowed ZAON to be powerful enough to defeat the first incarnation of Sin. And that ends the story of Lord ZAON. What do you think of his story? Did you think he should have had more of a backstory? Perhaps know more about his life outside of his marriage with Lady Yunalesca? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these types of lore videos. At 500 subscribers, I will be covering the story of Lady Yunalesca. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitch, where I play various RPG games and stories every Sunday morning. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and that, as they say, is that.